So let's do part two for this thing. Calculate the rate change of the angular momentum of the cylinder. Okay. Well, remember that angular momentum is I omega, right? The rate change would just be that divided by the time. Okay. So in this problem here, you figured out the speed of the bucket. Remember, there's two ways to do this. Okay, I'm just going to show you two ways. Way number one is the way that you're probably going to remember in May, right? Okay, so I is going to be 1/2 mr squared. And here's your m, right? There's your r. Okay, and then omega is going to be whatever this velocity is here, right? You got this speed, okay, which is somewhere between 13 and 14 meters per second. Okay, and that omega is just going to be v divided by r. Okay, so you're going to take that 13.4, maybe that's what it is, right? Okay, and divide that by this radius, the 0.2, and that'll give you the omega, right? Then you have to figure out what is the time, right? So we never figured out the time, possibly, when we found that final velocity. You'll have to figure out the time. I did that, right? And divide that change in momentum by the time it takes from this suvat, right? Right. So that's the way that you're going to remember, okay? But remember that force is change in linear momentum over time. So therefore, torque must also be change in angular momentum over time, right? Yeah. I don't know that that's actually in the data packet, but it's true. So all we have to do really is to find the torque acting on that cylinder. I don't know if this is easier, right? But in the previous problem, you have an expression for the torque, right? In part A, when you solve for this, right, torque ended up being something with an m and an a, right? Maybe there was a 1/2 in front of that, right? Okay, you know the acceleration of it, right? You figured it out in this part here, the linear acceleration of it, okay? So you can figure out the torque and why that torque is your angular change in angular, the rate change of angular momentum. Okay, so there's two different ways, this way, or you can just figure out the torque, whichever way you want. Try them both. If you're talented and gifted, do them both ways.